A new video? What madness is this? Spoilers for A Song of Ice and Fire and the Book of the New Sun. You have been warned. In 1982, Gene Wolfe wrote a letter to George R.R. Martin saying, "My definition of a great story has nothing to do with a varied and interesting background. It is one that can be read with pleasure by a cultivated reader and reread with increasing pleasure." Whenever George has been asked what his favorite books are, he consistently gives almost the exact same answer. Gene Wolfe was one of George's two mentors in his Windy City Writers' Workshop, and a legend in science fiction and fantasy, whose work requires rereading to understand its depth. Old fantasy magazines before Harry Potter and A Game of Thrones tend to list the second and third most respected fantasy series after Tolkien as Earthsea, a young adult series sometimes recommended to those who love Harry Potter, and a gritty adult series with a very gray protagonist by Gene Wolfe, The Book of the New Sun. Early in The Book of the New Sun, the protagonist finds his pet next to a dead direwolf, much like the Stark children. He sees no choice in life but to join a formerly respected guild and don a black cloak. He breaks the rules and gets locked up, and then, much like Jon Snow, this now poor organization gifts him one of the most valuable swords in the world. He gets kicked out of his home and forced to go north past an impossibly tall wall, like Bran. If you went only by the description of the wall up close in the first book, you would think it was the same height as the wall in Westeros. But based on the distance it can be viewed in later books, sort of like in the A Feast for Crows prologue, it would have to be thousands of feet tall. After passing this impossibly tall wall, he begins his transformation into time-traveling hive mind God King by engaging in a cannibalistic ritual in which he eats one of the few people he loves, much as some fans believe Bran does. Later, when he goes by the Giant's Castle, he sent a slave girl to have sex with named Pia, much like Jaime at Harrenhal. There's also an important character named Valeria, which is part of why I think Val is a secret Targaryen. See Triplet Targaryens, Episode 7. As the story goes on, the time travel becomes more and more obvious. Each book in the series has two nouns with an article and a preposition in the same order. Fans sometimes refer to each book by the first noun in its title. Each book has an appendix that should arguably be read before the book. The titles of the two series, The Book of the New Sun and A Song of Ice and Fire, both mean a history of overcoming the ice apocalypse through the rebirth of fire. Prominent YouTuber Preston Jacobs asked George if he read Plato's Republic, and George didn't remember. But The Book of the New Sun is definitely based on Plato's Republic. LML, another YouTube theorist, might similarly appreciate the influence of Hamlet's Mill and its mythical astronomy on The Book of the New Sun. One more thing. There's a significant character in The Book of the New Sun named Dorcas. She's being searched for under a different name before she enters the story, and is secretly passing information to the rebels. That might have something to do with why Tyrion refers to Lady Varys in his second chapter in Storm, highlighting how Varys disguises himself even when traveling through the walls, including as a woman, and why Cersei's maid Dorcas shows up in A Song of Ice and Fire after Cersei is searching for Varys. If you hadn't figured out Dorcas is Varys, sorry to spoil it for you, although I did warn you at the very beginning of this video. For more of my madness, check out the playlists on my channel, including Triplet Targaryens, or join us live on Old New Dude's channel.